Welcome to the Empowering Choices podcast. My name is Joshua.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Eric.
Erik and Lucas are licensed professional counselors, and we're talking about when you're missing one of the parenting tools, and more specifically, we're going to talk about when you're missing consistency.
We should have all switched chairs for this one.
That would have been funny.
Just to really...
Oh, that would have been funny. Yeah.
I mean, for one, it would have thrown off our editor.
Yes.
She'd be like, wait, all this AI training that I did to
no
do all the
longer
cuts
works.
correctly. I mean, just the first thing that I think of is, well, when you don't have one of the parenting tools, we've consistently been like, okay, well, the ones that you do have, lean on those.
Mm-hmm.
Would there ever be a case where consistency would not be something to just seek to achieve? Because I feel like the answer is, well, if you don't have it, you should figure out how to get the most of it that you can. You just do it. Yeah, right. Yeah. We had Nike commercial.
Right. Well, I mean, consistency still has different forms that it takes, by
give me a couple.
itself. When you're working with toddler to grade schooler, your consistency is going to be, more black and white, more concrete, more spelled out. When you're working with a high schooler, your consistency is going to need to have more abstract pieces there, that as they're growing, you're changing some of that consistency. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's kind of in the background, because you need to have consistency, because you'll confuse your children if you don't. They're looking at every stage for what is the rules? What is the structure? Mm-hmm. Because one of the things that they derive is safety and security, which reflects I'm loved. Structure, time, touch, all together equals a child feels loved. And so they're going to, at times, they're going to test your structure just to see if you still love them enough to actually have the rules. Mm-hmm. One middle school client that I have told me recently, I just got my phone back, and I was doing the same bad stuff on my phone that got it taken away.
Just completely outing themselves.
Right. And my parents went through my phone when I was at my friend's house, and I got caught. And rather than take my phone away, now I can have it just in the living room.
So the original rule was you get it taken away, and the same thing happened, and the outcome changed.
And the outcome, and so the child is saying, I'm confused. I don't understand. I did worse things this time, and I have less consequences.
Right.
And so what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And so
without an explanation from the parents as to why that would be a
right,
difference.
Right. And I think I understand some of the difference that they're doing. They're in a bad home. We have to get out and move situation. And I think they're trying to still let them have the phone as a way of trying to cope with all the change, but it's not being communicated.
The child is confused.
Yeah, and they're very confused. I had a family that came to see me, and it was very clearly obvious that the 12-year-old girl with Asperger's was firmly in control of the entire family. Mm-hmm. It's the only time in my career that a child decided they were going to set up a counseling session. They were going to be the counselor, and they were bringing their brother into it, who was in a different room, because he had been a jerk and it was going to be addressed.
And this is a 12-year-old.
And this is in my counseling room. And as the girl is saying it, she's getting out of her chair to go get her brother. And her mom starts with, no, that's not going to happen. No, we're not going to do that. Oh, I guess this is happening. I guess we're going to do this. And then I'm going, yeah, we're not. We're not doing this. And I'm trying to help mom understand, you have to be the one in charge, and you have to be consistent with that. Right. And she has to understand what the rules are, what the consistency is.
Yeah.
Fast forward about 4 months, mom is getting better. Mom is doing better. Girl comes into the office. Mom is coming in a little behind her. Mom sits on the love seat. Girl sits across from her in the chair, which is, I have another chair in there for me. And the girl spins around in her chair and looks me dead in the eye and says, and points at her mom and says, she's becoming too consistent. I liked her better before. You did this. You made her consistent. Change it. I want it back the other way. Mom is sitting there going, I'll use her name as Sally because I never had one. Her mom is going, Sally, that's not going to happen. Sally, you're right. I am getting better consistent. Sally, it's not going to change back anytime soon at all. Mm-hmm. Sally, this is the new how things are going to be in our house. And so I explained to Sally, I think if I know you and have gotten to know you correctly, you want to grow up to be a healthy, independent woman. And she said, yes, I do. And I said, then you can't be in control.
Right now.
You have to let your parents raise you, which means they have to make the rules and they have to be consistent, or you can't have what you want as an adult. And that helped cushion things a little bit. I mean, I don't fault her for being upset. It's just the way that is. But as mom continued to be more consistent and as they formed things and changed things, then, Sally actually was enjoying herself and the whole family was enjoying themselves much, much better. So, I mean, if you don't have consistency...
Come see Eric.
Okay, that's not what I was going to say.
That's why I answered it for you.
Yeah, you can come see Lucas as well. But if you don't have it, it doesn't mean it's too late to begin. Mm-hmm. It means you're going to have a little bit of a fight, and you may need to see someone to help, be supportive to you and help you understand, what it is you're seeing is very normal, and it's okay when you're getting backlash from your kids. And help strengthen you as you're beginning to reform some different things that you want to reform.
So we continue to come back to we believe in these parenting tools. Mm-hmm. If you have the ability to reattain or regrow or work on one that's a deficit, you should do that. Mm-hmm. And then you were also talking about, you're talking about things change over time. And that's not necessarily a lack of consistency, right?
Right.
You treat your middle schooler different than you treat your high schooler. And then I would imagine that in a scenario where there's inconsistency that you don't have control over, maybe something in your child's school, or we were talking about their other parent that maybe you're separated from, I would imagine we would simply lean on the tools we do have. Right? Be consistent where we can be, the structure we can be, the relationship that we have in the child's life to help buffer maybe the thing that's inconsistent and out of our control.
And you mentioned kind of those two areas, the other parent. So that's one that's going to be there that can be the most out of your control. You also mentioned school.
Sure, maybe a school feels inconsistent and
they're going to at different times. Teachers may be at different times. It reminded me of a dad that I knew. His name was John. And when his oldest son got into high school, on the very first day, John came, brought his son. His son is doing, all of the sign up and doing this. Well, John went to find the principal and walked up to the principal and said, "Hi, my name is John so-and-so, and my son's name is this. And he's now here in your high school, so you're going to be getting to know me really well." And she just looked at him like, "Oh,
hi.
That's why. Why am I getting to know you really well?" And he said, "Because I'm very supportive of my son, and so we're going to be talking a lot, and I'm going to be in here." And it's not that I'm going to be in here because there's a problem. There may be a problem, but I also want to be in here if he's causing a problem. Mm-hmm. So I want to get to know you and you to get to know me, so you're already beginning to kind of get into that environment and then consistently be able to connect with that environment and have the different supportive relationship both for your kids and for the educators, because sometimes you're going to need to support your kids. I have lots of stories of this. When the educators aren't being as supportive, and sometimes you're going to need to support the educators. I have lots of stories of this. When your kid is not being very, very good.
Mm-hmm. So again, we continue to it feels like of all of the skills that you might have deficits in your system, consistency feels like it's one where do your best to gain it. Because like with some of the other deficits, we're talking about like maybe the child that you're raising is not your biological child. You're not really going to like strive really hard to make that one more true.
Right.
You're going to lean on the other tools to make up for that deficit. But it feels like with consistency, it's like that's kind of one that you have more control over. So you should address it through the things you can control rather than needing to buttress that hole that is irreparable. Like in the case of it not being your biological child, you're never going to change that.
The biggest thing to be the most consistent with is get to know your child, biological or not.
Right.
Spend time with them, do things with them, get to know who they are. It will pay out big dividends throughout their growing up.
And we lean back on one of our other parenting principles of have a developed relationship with your child.
Exactly.
We come back to the principle of like, these are really good. And if one of them is lacking, lean on the others maybe.
We'll consistently, I guess, wrap up this episode as we always do.
We need to like inconsistently wrap up the episode here. Indy, can you close us out?
Yeah, Indy, come and close us out.
I think he's
I
napping.
think Indy's asleep right now, so I guess we'll do what we consistently do and I'll close it. But as I've said before, consistently, we have information, this course, courses, information, the parenting tools, all of this is on our website, empoweringchoices.community, or in our app. You can download it in the store by searching Empowering Choices Parenting. And as always, consistently, we'll see you on the next episode.